Okay, so welcome back, and so what we're going to do today is we are going to do an example of how we can use the definitions of perpendicular and parallel lines to solve a problem. So what we're going to do is we've got this equation, and the equation is write an equation in both slope-intercept form and standard form that passes through the point 3, 5, and is A, parallel to this line and perpendicular to the same line. So we're going to find a line that passes through this point that is parallel and one that is perpendicular to this line. Okay, and so then we're going to write the equation of the line in both slope-intercept form and standard form. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we got the point. And so we want to do parallel. First of all, for A, we're going to use the fact that parallel lines have the same slope. So we need to find the slope of this line, right? So we can't do it. I mean, there is a way that you can, if you divide everything by 5, right? So if you get rid of the 5 here by dividing everything by 5, you'll get the slope. Okay, so you could do it that way and you get that the slope is, now here's the thing, it's going to be the negative of this because, again, you're going to subtract 2x from both sides. So, if you don't want to make a mistake, so in this case, the slope should be negative 2/5. Okay? So, but let's put it in slope-intercept form, and then it'll be easy, right? We can actually see it. So if we write this in slope-intercept form, so we're going to isolate the y. Okay, so this is going to be equals negative 2x, right? Plus 4. And then we're going to divide both sides by 5. Okay? And so we get y equals negative 2/5 x plus 4/5. Okay, now in this case here, this is not the answer, right? We're using the line that they're giving us. Okay, so we're looking for a line that's parallel to this one. So which means we want it parallel to this, right? So now we know what the slope has to be of our new line. Okay, so we know the slope for our new line, for the parallel line that we're trying to figure out, has to have the same slope. So now we've got that piece of the puzzle. Okay, now the other piece of the puzzle uses the fact that we have a point. So we know that it goes through this point. So we know the line has a slope of negative 2/5 and goes through this point. Now we can use what we learned in the previous sections to come up with a line, an equation of a line that goes through a point and has this slope. So let's do that. So we're going to use the y-intercept form. So y equals, let's do this. Let's put in our point, so it's going to be 5 equals what? Negative 2/5 times x, which in this case is 3. So all I'm doing is using y equals mx plus b. And the only thing I don't know is the intercept, right? So that's why we're doing this. So now if I simplify this, what do I get? I get 5 equals negative 6/5 plus b. Okay? So now, if I add 6/5 to both sides, so let's do that. So if I have 5 plus 6/5 equals b, right? So all I did was add 6/5 to both sides, and it cancels with this one. And so now, what do I get? I get b equals what? Well, I'm going to change this so that it has a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom, right? Because this is the same as 5 over 1, right? So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 5, and so I get 25 over 5. So this is 25/5. And so if I add those two together, I get 31/5. And that's my intercept. Okay? So now, what's the answer? So now I've got my b, I've got my a, so I got my slope, and I've got my y-intercept. So now I can put these together, and so I know the equation of the line that's parallel to this, but goes through this point, is y equals negative 2/5 x plus 31. And that's it. So now, this is in slope-intercept form. Now, I want it in standard form, right? They wanted both slope-intercept and standard form. So I put it in standard form. Now I'm just going to multiply everything by 5 because I want to get rid of the fractions. Can't have fractions. So I'm going to multiply everything by 5. So I get 5y equals negative 2x plus 31. And now I'm going to bring the 2x over here. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. And so in standard form, I get 5y plus 2x equals 31. Okay, so here it is in slope-intercept form, and here it is in standard form. Okay, and so that's part A. Okay, now, we're going to do the same thing, but now we want to find a line that's perpendicular to the same line, right? So we're given the same line. So, but this time you don't have to go through all of the work because we already solved it here, right? So we already got the equation of line right here. So we already transformed this into this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use what we know about perpendicular lines, right? So what do we know about perpendicular lines? The product of the slopes must equal -1, or they both must be negative reciprocals of each other. So let's use that to our advantage. So we know the slope of the line here that we're starting with is negative 2/5. So that means the slope for the perpendicular line must equal, well, what? 5/2. Right? The negative reciprocal of this one is 5/2. So now we got the slope. So we don't have to do any extra work other than just realize that what we're doing with perpendicular lines. And so now all we have to do now is solve. Again, we've got this point, we've got this slope, and now we're back to solving our equation of a line. And so we're going to put in again our 2 points, 3, 5. So this will be 5 equals 5/2 times 3 plus b. Okay, and now all we're doing is solving for the intercept, the y-intercept. And so again, we're going to get what? We're going to get 5 equals 15/2 plus b. Then we're going to subtract 15/2 from both sides. Okay? And so what we end up with is, well, all we're going to do is get b, and we're going to get 5, which is, again, the same as 10/2, right? Minus 15/2. And then we end up with b equals what? Well, 10/2 minus 15/2 is minus 5/2. And there's our intercept. So now we've got our two pieces. We've got our slope and we've got our intercept. So now we can write the two forms of the equation of a line. So let's start with y-intercept. So since we already have that, so y equals 5/2 x minus 5/2. So let's see here. Yep, that looks right. Just want to make sure. So 5/2, 10/2. Yeah, that's it. So now, guess what? Now, this is slope-intercept form. Now, all we're going to do is multiply everything by 2, right? So if we multiply everything by 2, we get 2y equals 5x minus 5. Okay? Any questions there? So that looks right. And so now, just move everything over, right? So now we're going to write this as 2y minus 5x equals -5. And so now we got the standard form. Okay, so here's the slope-intercept form, and here's standard form. Okay, and this is negative. Okay, and that's it. So again, do this on your own. Make sure you could go through this process on your own and without making a mistake and see if you get the same answers. Again, practice makes improvement. That's the only way you're going to get good at these is if you practice. Okay, that's it.